Om Shanti. When we come to Baba, the first understanding that we receive is, I, the soul, experience the world through my mind and buddhi. Yes. So all the world is here. I am experiencing whatever I am experiencing here. And when we want to shift our reality, then the first shift that has to take place is here. Right? Whenever you're planning to go anywhere, let's say today you're sitting in Bombay and tomorrow you're going to go to Kolkata, then first thing is you shift your man and buddhi to Kolkata. You're thinking about the journey back. You're thinking about how you're going to settle there. And if you don't take your man and buddhi to Kolkata, you cannot take the body to Kolkata. Can you? No. So Baba says that now it's time to go home and go to the new world. So I, the soul, have to take my man and buddhi to my sweet home and to the new world before I, the soul, go there. And Baba says these two dimensions are very different. This is the material dimension, that is the non-material dimension. So if your man and buddhi is stuck anywhere in the material dimension, you cannot move to that non-material dimension. That's why Baba is teaching us to totally remove any awareness of the body and bodily relations in the material world from our man and buddhi now. So this is what Baba calls the preparation to go back. Yes. And we have to prepare to go back. And when you are unprepared, you cannot settle in. Have you seen, there are people who, I have seen many cases, people come and say, I was not prepared for the marriage and I got married. I was not prepared for the child and there was this child. So I have not been able to come to terms with it until today. So anything you do without preparation, it's very difficult to settle in. And Baba says, when you have to go home, you have to go home. And I'm teaching you how to prepare yourself with love. And if you don't do that, even then you have to be prepared to go home. So then that will be done by force. So there will be a lot of punishment and this and that. So Baba says, I'm teaching you to prepare to go home. And I'm doing that with a lot of love. So now you have to prepare to go home. And that preparation includes getting rid of body consciousness, getting rid of the remembrance of this physical world and bodily relations. And that will happen only when you keep churning within yourself that I am a soul and I'm going back to my sweet home and to a better world. So when you keep thinking about your new home and your new world, then you will have enough incentive to forget the old, because this old is sorrowful and that new is beautiful. So when you're convinced enough that the old is sorrowful and the new is beautiful, then you will be able to forget the old while living here. And Baba says this is preparation. And in today's Murli, Baba says, let me read out the question for you. Baba says, what is a firm rule in this drama that human beings don't know about? So Baba says the rule is, when there is knowledge, there is no devotion. And when there is devotion, there is no knowledge. When the world is pure, there are no impure beings. And when the world is impure, there are no pure beings. This is a firm rule in the drama that human beings don't know about. And it is very interesting that human beings think that knowledge and devotion are the same thing. Gyan and bhakti are the same thing. Yes, people think like that. So when they come to the center and you say that we teach true knowledge here, spiritual knowledge, then they would say this is a place of devotion. Bhakti ka sthan hai. Because they don't know the difference between knowledge and devotion. So now Baba today says that knowledge and devotion are completely opposite. And when there is devotion, there is no knowledge. When there is knowledge, there is no devotion. Now we have to understand this very well. So let's take morality first. I will not go into staunch bhakti first, because most people don't do staunch bhakti these days. Yes, so people are not doing staunch bhakti, so I will not go into that first. Let's take morality. Morality is a part of bhakti, and spirituality and morality are very different. So morality says that you are a very moral person if you become sorrowful when you see someone in sorrow. Yes, that's what morality says. When you feel sorrow by seeing someone in sorrow, that's very moral of you. Correct? This is how we look at, this is the belief system, and it is advised and taught that you should feel very sorrowful when the people around you are sorrowful. And that makes you a good human being. Yes, that's why when we are watching war news, we cry, we become sorrowful. These days we don't cry also, right? So earlier we used to cry. So these days, even the intensity of the sorrow that we experience has increased. It has decreased. But whatever it is, you fulfill your moral responsibility by crying and being sorrowful when you look at people who are in sorrow. So that is what morality teaches us. Morality teaches us that taking sorrow is the best punya karma that you can do. But spirituality or reality, so Baba says reality, royalty, spirituality, they are all the same thing. And the reality, the royalty, the spirituality is that when someone is sorrowful, when someone is in sorrow, then you have to be in happiness and radiate that happiness to them in your thoughts, in your drishti, in your words, in your actions. So morality and spirituality are completely opposite. Yes, so this is what, so there is a lot of difference between bhakti and gyan. So gyan is the complete opposite of bhakti. In the world, we believe that peace can be established by war. Yes, and power can be established by war. But Baba says that you can never fight for peace. Peace can be established by peace. If you want a peaceful world, if you want a powerful world where everyone feels safe, secure, and powerful, then you have to establish it through purity and peace. And the first person to uphold that has to be you. Not that you keep preaching it to others and not uphold it in your own life. So peace and purity, the adherence to peace and purity in our own life creates a peaceful and pure world. So this is also another major difference between morality and spirituality. Then let's take another one. Morality teaches us that when you make a mistake, feeling guilty about it is a divine act. Yes, people go and cry and confess, and so there is so these are the, so feeling guilty is a part of morality. People are taught to feel guilty. How many times have you told your children, are you not guilty about what you did? So we teach everybody to feel guilty. But Baba says that when you make a mistake, you use your controlling power and change it. You make the wrong right. Because you are the one who did it. You are the only one who has the power to shift it. So that is true repentance. When you've made it right, and when you're determined enough to not do it again, that is repentance. And otherwise, guilt is just a waste of time. So there is a lot of difference between morality and spirituality. And I will tell you, when we come into Gyan, we come from a world of morality into a world of spirituality, and sometimes we import a lot of morality into Gyan. For example, if during the day I have made a mistake, I have not been able to keep my timetable and my mind table according to Srimad, then sometimes what children think is when they have honestly submitted the chart at night and felt very guilty about it, that's enough. And then they continue doing the same thing tomorrow. But Baba says honesty means honesty to change, not honesty to tell. In morality, you think that speaking the truth is honesty. But Baba says speaking the truth is only the first step. Coming back to your reality and doing true karma is true honesty. So Baba says just by speaking the truth, you don't think that you've gotten off. Yes, and I have also seen children, who speak the truth and then they are very egoistic about it. So if somebody has spoken the truth and then you try telling them that you correct it, then they would say that it's only I who came and told you the truth. Now you cannot use it against me. And in that situation, it's not even being used against anybody. It's just being said that speaking the truth is not enough. Admitting your mistake is not enough. But understanding that you are honest only when you make it right. But that's not what we learn in morality. We learn that admission is enough, honesty is enough, feeling guilty is enough. But that's not enough. Feel guilty, do nothing is morality. So Baba tells us that there are so many things that you do in devotion which is completely contrary to Gyan. Now you see that in bhakti, you think that chanting the name of God will take you to God. Yes, and you don't need to have any change in your consciousness or your words or your actions. And the best example is of Ravan. So Ravan was Ravan, and yet he was hailed as a big devotee. So in bhakti, there is no obligation on the part of the bhagat to imbibe divine sanskars. So you can have kudrishti, you can steal a woman, you can captivate her, you can resort to any unfair means, and you can still be a big bhagat. And it's interesting that until today we say that Ravan was a very profound bhagat and he did a lot of bhakti. So in religion, in devotion, there is no obligation on the part of the bhagat to reform their character or pay attention to divine virtues. Correct? And you can be a bhagat and you can be, so there are, so people will say that I go to Tirth and I go do this and do that, and then still you can see their actions and they are also fully aware, but then they would say that this is worldly life and that is my life as a devotee, and these are two different things. So we have separated the grihast and the ashram, and we think that the ashram is a place where you can compensate for the sins that you do in your grihast, and that's how bhakti proceeds. But Baba says you have to integrate the grihast and the ashram. Gyan is that when you were in Satyug, then your grihast and ashram were together. They were integrated. So you lived a life of purity. So purity, peace, harmony, regard, respect, egolessness. That was the order of the day. So your life was an ashram. Your life was a deity world. And Baba says, your living has to be according to divine virtues. It's not about what you chant, where you visit, what you do. It's about how you behave all through the day. And that's Gyan. Gyan means, and Baba and Bhakti, people go and take blessings for marriage from God. And then they commit acts of lust. Or when they commit acts of violence also, they go and take blessings from God. Yes, don't they do that? You're going for war, you take blessings from God. Now, which God is blessing you for lust and anger? I don't know. But they have no idea. And then they say that my this act of lust was inspired by God, and this act of violence was inspired by God. But then God says, I teach you to be viceless. I don't inspire you for lust and violence. I don't inspire you for attachment. So, people in bhakti think that when you find somebody who will satisfy your lust, or who will satisfy your craving for attachment, or your greed is being fed, or you are able to establish power through violence, then it is the grace of God. But Baba says you must now, when you have Gyan, you can distinguish between what is the grace of Ravan and what is the grace of God. So when you are able to be pure come what may, be peaceful come what may, stay loveful come what may, when you're able to adhere to daily disciplines, spiritual disciplines, your murli, your yoga is never compromised, you are able to be a helping hand in Baba's task, that's the sign of a fortunate soul. That's what Baba calls is God's blessing, not the other way around. Yes, so Baba says, my blessings are this, not that. So you have interpreted it differently in bhakti. And in Gyan also, when somebody's even in the center, Brahmins also, they come and tell, Didi, Baba ki kripa se shadi ho gayi hai. So Baba has blessed, and now my child is married, and Baba has blessed, and that person has come around and they said sorry. So Baba asked you to forgive yourself. Baba didn't ask you to wait for them to say sorry, or they will say that I earned profit due to Baba's grace. No, you earned profit not because of Baba's grace. You earned profit because it's in the drama, but it will be Baba's grace when you use it for seva. Then you will earn 21 births of income. So if you earned profit and then didn't use it for seva, then I don't know whether it is what use it is going to be put to, and whether it will create fortune or misfortune will depend on what use you put it to. Because your body, your mind, your wealth is a resource, and until and unless it is put to right use, it will inevitably be put to wrong use, or it will be wasted. And when it will be wasted, whether calling it a fortune that you got it is questionable. So Baba says that it's not that you have a great body is fortune, you have a healthy body is fortune. But Baba says in Gyan you understand that it is fortunate if you are able to use that body for seva. You have very good mental health, you have intelligence, you are a great orator, a great thinker, singer, whatever. You have a lot of qualities, you can write well, you can speak well, fine. But what do you speak? What do you write? Where do you use your qualities? That's a sign of grace. Yes, so if you have the buddhi to use your assets and your specialities in a worthwhile way for seva, that's called fortune. Having it is not fortune enough, because when you have it, you can use it, you can abuse it. There are two ways to do it. And if you don't have the buddhi to use it well, then having it can become a very big misfortune, because you can use it only to create sin. So, and there is another thing, you see, when people achieve something, when somebody becomes a doctor or an engineer, others are very happy. But Baba says it doesn't matter whether you became a doctor or an engineer. What matters is whether you become a good doctor or not, whether you stick to your spiritual self or not. While in the profession, whether you are looking at other people as souls and giving them spiritual relief along with physical relief or not. So that's fortune. So we have a lot of misconception in bhakti. And Baba says that if your ego is not being fed, very good. If you're free from, so in bhakti, people think that if you have a lot of karmic accounts, very good. You have a big family, many people all piling on you, very good. Bhara pura sansar. But Baba says if you're nirbandhan, nobody to trouble you, nobody who keeps calling you and asking, how are you, how are you? Very good. You can use all your life and time for seva. So nirbandhan is good. So there is a lot of difference between bhakti and gyan. In bhakti, we think that doing yajna, doing tapasya, reading the shastras is a way to earn punya karma and go near to God. But Baba says, here you understand that even reading the murli is not enough. When you practice soul consciousness, when you practice how to remember Baba and become like him, when you practice purity in every aspect of your life, and when you become helpers of Baba in his spiritual task, that's how you earn punya karma. So the method to punya karma, which is taught in bhakti, is very different from what Baba tells us in Gyan. So and I remember when I came into Gyan, so Santosh Bhai was already in Gyan, so I used to ask these questions. So when he would just sit in the morning and meditate, so I used to get very annoyed. And I used to tell him, what kind of punya is this? I don't get it. You sit and and I don't know, you are opening your eyes, closing your eyes. I don't know what you're doing and how it is helping the world. I just don't get it. Why don't you get up and do something? Why don't you go and build a hospital? Why don't you create a school? Why don't you do something? I don't know how this is helping the world. And he told me, it's okay if you don't know. You just allow me to do whatever I'm doing. And slowly, gradually, I understood how, the world needs only this. Yes, so people are, so the world is, the whole structure of the world is created through the state of consciousness. Avastha se vyavastha. So it is the consciousness which creates the world. And people are creating the world physically. So you're building everything, but there is no attention to your consciousness. But Baba says, when you work on your consciousness, when you make effort to be soul conscious, when you make effort to be the supreme soul conscious in remembrance of Baba, when you are getting in connection with your highest consciousness, that's spiritual effort and that's helping the world. And consciousness transformation will lead to world transformation. Physical transformation is a byproduct of consciousness transformation. And Baba says that The effort that you make in silence is changing the whole world. So, these days, even scientists are talking about thoughts and consciousness and the power in it, but they really don't know how to use that power. So, what to think, how to shift the consciousness, where to anchor it so that it shifts. And the highest consciousness, Baba has come and told us how to move our awareness from this physical reality to that world of absolute light and purity, and to our Baba, who is the ocean of all virtues. And by doing that, we start resonating at his frequency. So Baba says, when you do this practice, it is this way that you are helping the world. And when you invest your time, energy, and money in teaching people how to do this more and more, that's being God's helper. When you are donating to other causes which are aiming at physical transformations, okay, that's also good, but not good enough. But when you are helping Baba in this task where where souls are learning how to shift consciousness, that's punya karma. So there's a lot of difference between bhakti and gyan, and Baba says when there is bhakti, there is no gyan. When there is gyan, there is no bhakti. So in Satyug and Treta Yug, we are knowledgeful. 2500 years, we are knowledgeful. And when we are knowledgeful, we don't do bhakti. Because bhakti is done in sorrow. And knowledge gives you happiness. So when you're knowledgeful, you're happy. You don't do bhakti. And when we are in sorrow, we are not in gyan. So at that time, we create many methods taught by human beings, practiced by human beings, which only perpetuates the human condition. It doesn't alleviate or elevate us to the divine self. So Baba today is telling us that the world doesn't know that devotion and knowledge are not the same thing. And Baba tells us that you know that they are diametrically opposite. And so you see that there was this one person who had come to the center, and he said that, if you believe in one religion, then you obviously will hate the religion which is, doing wrong to your religion. So I said, no, we believe in that religion which doesn't teach us to hate. And that's Gyan. Bhakti cannot teach you that. Because only Baba teaches us that you are a soul, and your spiritual religion enables you to love everyone, because everybody is like you, they are a soul. They are Baba's child. Otherwise, if you believe in one religion, it will always be the opposite of another religion. Then there'll be us and them, and then you can't love everyone. So this is something that Baba says. And then Baba also tells us that impurity and purity don't exist together. So Baba says you cannot be impure and go to the pure world. So in Bhakti we say that when an impure soul leaves the body, so all his life, being vicious and corrupt and all that is going on, and then suddenly when you leave the body, you go to heaven. They left for heavenly abode. So Baba says you cannot go to heaven if you are impure. So you must understand that if you want a pure world, then you have to become pure to go there. And this is, you cannot go to the pure world by chanting or by yoga or this or that. You can only go to the pure world by becoming pure. And for that, we have to understand purity, purity in thought, purity in word, purity in action. What is that? And that's why Baba has to come and teach us what is purity, and also give us the power to become pure so that we can go back to the pure world. So, this is what Baba says today. And then Baba today says that Baba hammers you so much and makes these things sit in your intellects. So I would like to emphasize on this point also, because sometimes, children say that, why does Baba repeat in the Murli? So there are many points which come every day in the Murli. So when Baba speaks something every day, it's not repetition, it is hammering. Have you done hammering? So at the same point, you have to strike many times until it enters. So when Baba is saying something many times every day, it's because he knows that a lot of hammering is required before something enters our intellect. And you see that it is, we keep listening to Gyan every day. And every day that same point enters us deeper. Have you noticed that? And this is the hammering that Baba is doing. So, if we want Gyan to sit in our buddhi, we have to be open to hammering. Yes, so if Baba is doing it every day, we have to understand that there is a reason why God is doing it every day. And if you want the Gyan to enter your buddhi, you have to allow that hammering. And the Murli can only do that hammering. So, listening to the Murli with your mind and heart open every day is to allow yourself to get hammered. And then Baba today says that, sweet children, don't cause anyone's sorrow through your thoughts, words, or deeds. Even if someone has enmity for you, you mustn't have any thought in your intellect of causing sorrow to that one. Tell everyone things of happiness. Don't have any kind of ill feeling for anyone. Because Baba has taught us that our destiny is created by our karma. Yes, so whatever anybody does, you stick to your knowledgeful self, you do the karma that will make you inherit a happy life, a happy world. So never forget this. So don't take sorrow, don't give sorrow, both the things. Because if you give sorrow also, you will multiply it and bring it back to your life. So both the teachings that Baba gives are equally important. And then in the slogan, Baba says, constantly stay under God's sustenance. To constantly stay under God's sustenance is to be fortunate. What is fortune? Getting something. Yes, if you get something and it takes you away from Baba and Murli, that's misfortune. Yes, sometimes, people say, nowadays the business is very good. That's why we don't find time to read the Murli. Then I tell them, I doubt whether the business is good. Because the ultimate business is not being taken care of. So if anything material is, and you think that you acquired it and it is taking you away from Baba's sustenance. Baba gives sustenance through Murli, in yoga, in the family. So when you are away from the family, when you're not able to attend group class, when you're not able to take the love from Baba in the Murli, when you're not able to sit in silence and receive power and love from Baba, that's pretty unfortunate. Baba says, fortune means when you are able to take sustenance from Baba. Baba comes only once in 5,000 years. This is our only time to take sustenance from Baba and fill our aprons with ever healthy and ever wealthy future. So Baba says, don't think anything that takes you away from Baba's sustenance is a good thing. And Baba says, pay attention to this, that you stay under the canopy of Baba. The canopy is Murli, the canopy is daily attendance in the class, the canopy is yoga. Okay, Om Shanti.